right, this one, some multiplying binomials. So in parentheses, x minus 5.
Okay.
And we have another set of parentheses, x minus 9.
I think this was an answer on the test that I had today. My students took.
So you should know this one already.
I do know this one already. I think I'll take this. Okay. So first off, it is called multiplying binomials, and I will start by explaining that word. First, binomials, this prefix bi meaning two, like a bicycle has 2 wheels, tricycle has 3 wheels. So binomials meaning it has 2 terms, and you can kind of see here's one term, here is the second term. So we have 2 binomials that are being multiplied together. Now, a lot of times I will give this example first before I explain how to multiply binomials. This is a monomial, meaning one term, times a binomial, 2 terms. And oftentimes students know how to handle this, but then when it comes to binomials, get a little bit held up. So a lot of times I will explain this one first. So when we have 1 term times 2 terms, means we need to distribute. This is called the distributive property, where we would take our 5 times the first term, and then our 5 times the second term. So 5 times x, we get 5x. 5 times the negative 9, we get negative 45. So what we're doing when we multiply in general is we're making sure that each term gets multiplied together by the other. So if we were looking at this multiplying binomials, we would want to make sure that we took this negative 5 times the x and the negative 5 times the negative 9. But we also have another term that we have to distribute as well, and that's our x. So we would have to do the x times the x, and we'd also have to do the x times the negative 9. Now, one of the strategies to multiplying binomials, or one of the methods, I guess you could say, is called FOIL. And a lot of my students have heard of that, but don't know what it means. What that is saying is just kind of a reminder to make sure that you distribute every term to every term. So F stands for front. So, and I'm going to highlight these so you can see what I mean when I say front. Let's see here. Oh, I got rid of my x. Come back. Okay, so the front terms would be like my x and my x. Those would be my front terms. My O stands for outside. So these would be the 2 on the outside. So I would say the x times the negative 9. The I stands for inside. So they would be the 2 on the inside, so the negative 5 and the x, and the L stands for last. So the negative 5 and the negative 9. Now, this strategy, perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it. However, my only issue with it is that it only works for binomials, if we have 4 things that we have to multiply. I choose to use a different method whenever I multiply binomials, and that's called the area model. The area model just goes with the idea that if we're multiplying a length and a width together, the area is our product. So I could almost pretend that this first binomial is my length, and then this second binomial is my width, and that whatever the area is would be the product of the 2 of these binomials. So I could set up my length as x minus 5. I could set up my width as x minus 9. And then what might make my life a little bit easier is if I split these up. So do x and negative 5 separately and x and negative 9 separately. Then I only have one thing to multiply together at a time. So I do x times x to find the area of this first part here. And actually, if we were doing FOIL, that would be the front part, our x times x. So that gives us x squared. And then negative 5 times x would be for the top right box. That gives us negative 5x. On the bottom left, we get negative 9x. That's x times negative 9, our length times width there. And on the bottom right, we have negative 5 times negative 9, which gives us 45. And then if we were finding the area of something, and we found area of all of these little pieces, if we wanted to find the area of the whole thing, we'd have to add those all together. So what I would do is I'd say x squared plus negative 5x, or just maybe a shorter way to write that, minus 5x, plus negative 9x plus 45. And then, as with anything, we would want to simplify it as much as we can. So we would combine any like terms that we have, which we could say negative 5x and negative 9x. Those are like terms. So all together, combining them, I have x squared minus 14x and then plus 45. Now, at this point, no more like terms. That's as much as we can simplify this product together. So this is what we get when we multiply two binomials, or these two binomials together. So there you have it.
Yeah, I like that you showed like a couple different methods, because I think sometimes students have trouble with one method, and then they're really solid on another one, or vice versa.
Yeah, I have students who come, they already know FOIL, so I just say, go, use it, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But the area model is cool because you can use it with trinomial times a trinomial, or
Right.
any number of terms times any number of terms, whereas FOIL only works for two.
And it's just a good way to organize.
It really is, it's kind of a nice little visual.